out, dear, and put it away in the closet, and see that Susie does, too.
Daddy!
Yes,
Come on. I want to show you the funny bed I sleep in.
Okay, young lady, you show me.
Why don't you leave me alone? When I'm standing out there with those paddles in my hands, I have enough to worry about you guys. When I get ashore, I don't want to worry about anything. One thing does worry me, though. Have they got enough beer in Japan?
Good evening, boys.
Good evening,
Admiral. Brubaker, how's the family? Oh, fine, thank you, sir. Admiral, this is Mrs. Brubaker, Nancy.
How do you do?
I thought your husband was going to take off like a jet when he heard you were here, Mrs. Brubaker, and now I understand why.
Why, thank you, Admiral. I was kind of pleased to see him, too.
Won't you sit down, sir?
Thanks.
Well, they didn't keep you in Tokyo too long.
No, they don't anymore. Not since that first press conference. I told them we were fighting Russian guns, Russian radar, Russian planes, and Russian submarines. A lot of our men are being killed by Russian equipment manned by Russian experts. Ever since then, they bundle me out here as fast as possible.
I'm Lieutenant Brubaker.
Gentlemen, see you, sir.
Oh. Excuse me.
Will you have a drink?
The doctor won't let me.
What is it, Nestor?
Mike's been in a terrible fight, Lieutenant.
Just Mike.
No, sir. But I got away. Mike's in jail, sir, in Tokyo. I came out as quick as I could.
What happened?
His girl's marrying a bosun from the Essex. Oh, it was bad, sir. If you don't come, he'll be locked up permanent.
Nestor, Tokyo's 60 miles away. I'll phone the MPs right
Calling won't help, sir. Mike clobbered 2 MPs, along with the gang from the Essex.
What'd you two do, take on the whole town?
Yes, sir. Practically.
Nestor, I'd like to do something.
Oh, please, Lieutenant. You gotta help Mike.
Okay, I'll come. You wait here. Excuse me, Admiral. Hon, there's been some trouble in Tokyo, and I think I'd better
Harry,
go.
What
no.
kind of trouble?
It's Mike Foney again, sir.
Oh,
A girl, another sailor, a brawl. Usual consequences. He's in jail.
Oh, Harry, you don't have to get mixed up with brawling sailors.
Darling, if Foney were in China, I'd have to help him.
Harry.
if you were freezing to death in the sea, a man brought his helicopter right over your head and rescued you. Wouldn't you help that man if he got in trouble?
Did Harry crash at sea?
Yes, 4 days ago.
You know your husband's at war, but somehow you just can't believe that he'd crash into the sea.
Hasn't Harry told you anything about what he's been doing?
He never talks about the war.
With the rest of them, he's been doing a tough job and doing it well. But when we go back to sea, he's got a tough one ahead of him. He's going to have to fly against some certain bridges. Ask him to tell you about them, Nancy.
I don't even want to think about it. I suppose to you, it's a sign of weakness, isn't it?
Maybe not weakness. Like most people at home, you've been protected. You're ignorant and defenseless.
Harry doesn't want me to worry.
That's the way my son George felt. Harry often reminds me of him. Same quick temper and same thorough way of doing things. As a matter of fact, in certain ways, you remind me a little of George's wife.
She didn't want to think about it either, is that it?
When George was killed at Midway, she never recovered. For a while, she tried to make love with every man in uniform. Thought he might die one day. Then she grew to loathe herself and attempted suicide. don't know where she is now or what she's doing. Once she was my son's wife.
And you think if things go wrong at those bridges, I might be like that?
Perhaps. If you don't let yourself think about certain things. If you refuse to acknowledge what you're up against, terrible consequences can follow.
I shouldn't have come out here. That's what you're trying to tell me, isn't it?
No. In spite of all the regulations, maybe you were right to come. Perhaps when George was killed, if my wife had come out to join me, things might have been different. But she stayed at home like a good Navy wife. And then when our other boy was killed trying to torpedo a Japanese carrier, it was just too much for her.
You lost 2 sons and your wife.
No. Margaret's still alive. But all that was gentle and loving about her slowly withered away. Now she sits quietly alone in a room, knitting a baby sweater.
Oh, Admiral, I'm so ashamed.
Don't be. Let's be grateful for what you have. And above all, be honest with yourself.
If I can't face the reality now, then there won't be much hope for me afterward. If anything should happen.
I have a feeling you'll be all right. Let's get your little girls and have dinner.